Hello, I am Advocate Vibhav Amonkar. I am practicing at the High Court of Bombay at the Goa bench and the other civil and criminal courts in Goa. And I am here to guide you. I have been in practice for almost about 11 years and I am here to guide you. So, at ninth standard, that is your late secondary, it's a very indecisive phase of your life, and so many people tell you about so many things. Back then, the most common options were engineering and medicine, of course, because that's the time everybody follows that. And then there were some unique options being thrown at you, like the mass media or some graphic designing and things like this. But there's no proper guidance in respect of which career path you need to obtain or you need to pursue. So you were left at your own research. Back then also, when I'm talking about early 2000s, you did not have access to Google. Now with Google you can kind of know everything about everything. Back then our means of knowing things were limited. So of course I wouldn't say I knew what I was doing back then, but it was still a very undecisive phase of my life. So when I cleared my 10th standard, not that I had scored great marks academically, but I had the privilege of choosing the stream that I wanted. I thought to myself, what are my likes, what are my dislikes? For me, chemistry and maths were not something that I really fancied. I was more into history, into political science. That's the kind of liking that I had. So when I thought about this, I thought science is not a cup of tea for me, and with commerce comes numbers, which also I wasn't great with. So I thought of choosing the options of arts, because ultimately I would be close to the subjects which I like, and I'd like to study those subjects greater in detail. Not that I knew in 10th standard when I joined arts, or 11th standard when I joined arts, I was sure about doing law, but I knew I didn't want science or commerce, and that's the reason I chose arts, because I would be studying subjects which are more to my liking. Yes, I think most importantly, it's about your liking. Do not force yourself to join a career because your friend is doing it, and which is the mistake which a lot of people do and a lot of parents do. You force somebody to join a stream because of societal pressure and ultimately parental pressure, which are things which have to be seriously avoided. I believe first assess for yourself as an individual and as a student, what do you like to study? The answer cannot be I don't like to study at all, but there are definitely affections towards some subjects and inherent dislike towards some others. If you are made to join a stream which you inherently dislike, you will not be happy. You will not be willing to study and you will not be willing to put in the efforts. But if you are doing a stream, or if you join the kind of path that is as per your liking, study will not be a burden. It will just be a journey. It will be a part of it, which happened to me. I personally, in my 12th standard, from compared to what I was in my 10th standard, there was a stark difference in the way I approached my subjects. I on my own started solving trial papers. I on my own started timing myself for those things, which I never had done in my 10th standard, because probably there was an inherent dislike towards the subjects which I was studying. To me in 11th 12th, because I chose arts and because I was more conversant with the subjects and I liked the subject which I did, it helped me in choosing the kind of career that I pursued now, and not for a moment have I regretted taking that decision till date. So my advice in general would be, first assess for yourself your likings, your dislikes, and then choose the stream which will aid your likes, and it'll be much easier for you to then thereafter choose the correct path or the correct career, because the opportunities are immense right now. Every year passing by, there are new spheres and there are new fields that are coming in, some of which even we in Goa don't know about. So but you have access to the internet, which gives you all the information about everything. So use that to your advantage, assess for yourself, and then take a decision. Well, I would say that I also suffered a lot of criticism, and particularly from some members of my own family when I chose arts. My mother was always supportive though. My mother said, you decide for yourself what you want to do. But when you try to go against the flow, because if you have a group of 5 and 4 of your friends choose science stream and you then thereafter choose art stream, you will definitely be told what you are doing is wrong, you are ruining your career. But that's something that has to be avoided. My mother was in particular very supportive of my decision of choosing arts. My friends, yes, the people who were senior to me guided me of what is the kind of profession. Of course, from the point of view of law profession, when I was in 11th standard, I had a lot of friends and family friends who were in the profession in Goa, in Bombay. They helped me. So talk to people, get to know people who are in that field. If you have some thought about the field that you want to get into, try to get to people who are in that field. I'm sure people are helpful. Even today, if a law student comes to me and talks to me, I am happy to help them, to give them my advice, to give them how I initially struggled in the field, what kind of time it took me to get on my own feet in this profession. So anybody who's there, has spent some certain number of years in a profession will certainly help the freshers or who want to start somewhere or want some guidance in respect of that. So get to people, talk to people, write emails, join them on LinkedIn. They are all very accessible, and then the people who have the experience are always willing to help. So get to them and talk to them, and be frank with your family, and don't fall a prey to any parental pressure, because that will ultimately make you an unhappy person in your career. If you are doing something that you are not fond of, if you are doing something that you genuinely don't like, you will not enjoy it. And there is your profession with which you spend your maximum day with. Like for example, I start my day at 9 in the morning and I work till 9. So 12 hours of your day, that's half of your life, you are going to be with this profession. So, and getting into something which you are not happy with or you are not fond of will not make you a happy person. So I'm sure be frank with your family, talk to them, be open about your likes and dislikes, and take advice from as many people as you want. Advice is free, absolutely. You don't have to, you just talk to as many people and get the insights into what you want to do. I have graduated from the VM Salgaonkar College of Law, which is in Miramar. And initially in my 11th, 12th, I was in VS Tempo High Secondary School. So yes, that's my qualification. I graduated in 2012. So I've been in the in the profession for almost 11 years now. The first and the most important thing is logical reasoning. You have to make logic in the field of law. Law is based on logic, because when the statutes were made, when the acts were made, which we today rely on, the makers go by logic. The makers go in principles of law. So if you are able to make a rationale out of a situation, that's the most important feature or most important prerequisite to become a good lawyer. Secondly, you have to be articulate. You have to be able to put words in order, because you stand there and you argue before a judge. You have to ensure you get 2 minutes of especially in high court, you get 2 minutes to argue, to make up a point. In those 2 minutes, you have to be as brief, as specific, and as articulate as possible. That's also a very important trait that a lawyer has. So if you want to be a practicing advocate, you have to be able to logically reason and be articulate. And thirdly, you have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to answer questions posed to you while you're arguing. Your thought process will be broken. You will not be able to, like when we do seminars, we know, or give lectures, we know the points we go. But in the meantime, the judge stops you and says, no, you answer this. You'll have to stop there. Your thought process will be blocked. So you'll have to be able to answer at that particular point of time. So you have to think on your feet, your answers have to be ready, and you should be ready to work really hard and read a lot, because we work long hours. In the morning you are in court, in the evening you are meeting clients in office, so you work long hours, and that's the reason you have to be mentally and physically prepared to work long hours and put in all those efforts if you want to reach somewhere in the legal profession. So those are the prerequisites of especially in our profession. Logic is something that's most important for all our laws. So I start my day at about 9 in the morning. Since I'm mostly in the High Court, my morning sessions are in the High Court, afternoons are in the trial courts, that is the civil and criminal courts. I come back to office at about 5:30. So when we are in court, we can't do much with our clients. So all our client meetings, our discussions and our preparations for the next day happens at night. So I'm in office at least till about 9 p.m. on a regular basis, and if there is more work which I need for the next day, then I carry it home, and then I sit from between say 12 to 2 at night. I'm a late week. I wake up late. I wake up at around 8. So I at least can work till about 1 at night if I have some work pending, and then I go to sleep. So yes, long hours, but ultimately if you want to reach somewhere, you have to be able to and mentally prepared to put in those many hours. Then you can't crib about कितले काम आसा आणि कितें कितें करचें पडटा. You can't crib about that because you ultimately chosen. And of course you are rewarded. Monetarily you are rewarded. You are not doing the work for free. So when at least there is that motivation of fact of earning money, that even makes you work harder in the profession. So that is also a very important thing. You can't, in any profession for that matter, in any career path, financial reward is also necessary, because that's the ultimate goal that will drive you and help you reach there. So now it's way diverse than what it was 10 years back. You need not particularly be in practicing advocacy itself. In the sense, I am a practicing advocate. That means that I go to courts and represent clients before the courts. But you can do so many other things. You can be a corporate lawyer. That would mean that you're advising companies on deals, you are advising companies on transactions, you are doing compliances for your clients. So that is a field of legal profession where you don't require to go to courts, where you're stuck with a company, your companies are your clients, and you do that kind of work. Now that is basically corporate law. Then there is another very evolving branch of law called as media law or intellectual property rights. Basically you are dealing with copyright registrations, where if copyright or trademark, we would basically mean that they are the intellectual property of a brand. So you are dealing with those brands, you are dealing with their registrations, you are dealing with the issues they are having with their branding. That is called, and then there is media law, which would mean that you are connected with channels, broadcasting partners. So that's another evolving field of law. Another evolving field of law is mediations, basically where people want to settle outside court. They don't want to go to court. So there are designated mediators. You have a separate course for that, which many colleges introduce. So after law, you can pursue that course and try to become a kind of a mediator, where parties appoint you to settle disputes. Sometimes even courts do, because sometimes in courts both the parties say, I don't want to litigate, settle the dispute. So then they refer that case to a mediator. So that's another option in legal profession. And ultimately being a practicing advocate, like how I am, which is what I like doing. So that's the core of our legal profession, basically going to courts. I'm a litigator, so I litigate. I argue matters before the court. I advise clients on how to style their case, how to strategize their case. So that's what I do. So that's the most important and crux of our profession. But beyond this, there are several other options which are available to you after you do law. Law is a vast field. It is professionally rewarding. It is financially rewarding. It is, of course, a lot of hard work is involved therein, but it's a beautiful thing if you want to actually do some service to society. Also we have something called as legal aid panels, where we can give our services, offer our services for free to needy people. That gives you a sense of personal satisfaction also, that you are not only working for money, you're also working for you're helping somebody out of a case, or you are helping somebody. So that's also another open field that is available to us. So it's whole in whole, it's a very good professional package that you get if you join law. And there are several options available to you after you become a lawyer. So I am an advocate. A lawyer who practices law is an advocate. So you can be a lawyer without being an advocate only. You will not practice law. You can join a company as a legal advisor, and that's also a very good option for you.